Okay folks, welcome back to my channel. I got another video for you. I have a GTX 1999. It's a Rotex fuel injection. And I'll show you how to take this apart and put it back together. Now to go ahead and put it in reverse, I'm going to go in here and take this 10mm nut right here off and get this right here loose. Now I'll go ahead and put the bolt back through here and put the nut on it so that I don't lose it, and go to the other side. Now I'll go right down inside here and I'll take this one right here off. I'll come up through from the bottom. I'm going to go here and take these two bolts right here out. There's two on the top and two on the bottom. And I've got the two on the bottom. Now these bolts that come out of here are 13mm. Now I just want to point out that this here takes a 13mm, but it will also accept a 1/2 inch socket just as well. So you can use a 13mm or a 1/2 inch on these bolts, as you can see here. And once you get the bolts out, the whole thing right here will fall off. Be careful because you have two O-rings that goes right here on top of this. Also, if you go right inside here, this piece right here will slide off. Just pull it away, and there it is, and put it out of the way. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that nut right there off. There's a nut right there, and if I go down here, there's a nut right there, and if I go over to here, there's also a nut right there, and I'm going to take all four of those nuts there off, and then this pump right here should come right out. I'm going to go ahead and use a 17mm deep well socket, because that's the only thing I can get in there to get that off with. Should have a washer on each one of these and a lock washer on each one of these along with the nut. Now I got the nuts, washers, and lock washers off. This pump should pull right out. Here is the pump, and now I'll go ahead and go in and take it apart. Okay, there's what it looks like up in there. Nothing but a drive shaft left. Now this is the wear ring that came out, as you can see right there. I took a Dremel and cut that, but I didn't cut all the way through it because I didn't want to damage my housing. I took a screwdriver and kind of chiseled it on out, and it broke and folded over top of itself, and I pulled it right on out. But this thing was kind of dry rotting and it was all broke up. Let me show you the other side. I started pulling this thing apart by hand. That's how dried up the plastic was. Really needed to replace bad. This is the hardest part of the whole job right here. As long as you got the right tools and you got that little wrench that goes in the back of your impeller. Now, as long as you got the right tools, this job is not hard at all. Getting the wear ring out is the hardest part of the job. And as long as you got one of those yokes for the impeller so that you can take the impeller off of the shaft, then that's the only tool you really need. Everything else is basic tools. Okay, I got my pump all cleaned out, ready to put the wear ring in there. I've had it in the freezer all night. Make sure you put the right end in first. It should just slide right in. Just like that. Just take a piece of wood, hold it flat. Make sure it's nice and flush with the inside bottom. Top looks pretty good. Now I'm ready to go ahead and put the impeller on it. Okay, I got the wear ring in it. As you can see how far this one sticks out compared to the other one. If you ever need to take a wear ring out and you got this much area, you can drill some holes right here, and all four sides or only two sides, and put a hook ring in there and pull this ring out if possible. I'll try that next time if I ever have to replace it and video it. Right now I'm going to put some grease in here. I've already Put the cone back on, put some 75/90 full synthetic oil in here, filled it all up, make sure it didn't leak. So right now, I'll go ahead and grease this. I'm going to go out there and take it and mount it back onto the back of the SeaDoo. The pump's not a really hard job to do. As long as you got the tools and you got the parts to do it with. Parts nowadays don't cost that much. It's just putting a little bit of time into it and taking care of it. Right now I'm going to douse this right here with grease. I'm going to go ahead and put my little fittings back in there. This right here will go in there first. I'll just squeeze it inside there. You all you have to do is push it in. There's a little lip in there that holds it in place. Get the grease off of it there. Now I'll go ahead and put this ring on there because it's got to go on there just like that. Now the drive shaft to go inside there. Now as you can see, I've cleaned everything around there off. I'll make sure it's nice and clean. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the neoprene seal inside there. This is the neoprene seal. I'm going to go ahead and take this cover off the back of it. I'm going to stick it inside there. Now that neoprene stuck on there pretty good after you clean it off really good with alcohol. Make sure your little rubber pieces are up in here. They're like a seal. And then I got this other seal right here. It actually goes right here. I'm going to put it in there, snap it in. You can put Loctite on it if you'd like, but all three of those seals need to be in there before you put the pump in. Now when you put the pump in, make sure you line it up with the drive shaft. Go ahead and stick it in there. You might have to crawl under it, make sure the drive shaft is lined up. You can reach up underneath there where the drive shaft's at. If you have to, just come right up there underneath of it and take those two bolts right there out. So you can see right there, and drop this grate. You can stick your hand up in there and get the drive shaft started. Once you get the drive shaft into your impeller, you get the pump slid back, you can go ahead and put your washers, lock washers, and your nuts on there and start pulling it tight. Remember, these are a 17mm nut when you tighten them down. Now I'll move on to the next step. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this in there, and you can't mess this up because it's got little slots. You got slots back here, you got slots here. You just got to make sure those two seals are in there. Then just drop it in there and just slide it in. Now you just want to make sure before you put this back piece on that you got your two seals right here. And you might want to put some grease or something on them to keep them from coming off. Okay, I've got the O-rings right there. We'll see if that works. Now if I can hold this on there with one hand and get the rest of it up on there, I'm good. Okay, when you hold that up there, be ready with your impact and your what, 1/2" socket to get those in there. Now I'll go to the next step, and that is hooking up these little levers right here. This one inside here, and this job is complete. I'll go test it out and see how well it works. Like, comment, subscribe, share with friends. Thanks for watching.